It's no secret that 2020 has been a rocky year for many folks, but that isn't to say that there haven't been any ups whatsoever. While we've been stuck inside playing games, revisiting old classics, finding new titles to cherish and such, we've also hit a few anniversaries along the way. For instance, Pac-Man hit 40 in May 2020, and, let's be real, is prepped for a midlife crisis. One of the biggest events in gaming this year, however, is Mario's 35th anniversary, and there's a lot to celebrate given how big of an icon Mario has become and how his character has shaped the gaming landscape. What better way to look back on the plumber's career than with a new collection of classic Mario titles? Welcome to Mojo Plays, and this is Ty's review of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Just at the tip of the iceberg, Super Mario 3D All-Stars gives you plenty of reason to nab a copy. This collection comes with 3 widely beloved titles from the past couple decades: Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, which were respectively released on the Nintendo 64 in 1996, the GameCube in 2002, and the Nintendo Wii in 2007. All 3 were practically universally acclaimed when they launched and still retain massive followings to this day. However, there's one key difference between this collection and their original releases. They're on the Nintendo Switch. Sounds great on paper, what with the console's portability and flexible control schemes. Unfortunately, not every game benefits from this time capsule title, and to show that, I went back and played through the same levels in the original games to compare them with 3D All-Stars. Super Mario 64 was one of the very first games I played as a kid, and every now and then, I'll go back to it for an hour or two. What was astounding to me was the level design and how each world featured different missions consisting of puzzles, platforming, coin collecting, and finding secret areas. Although, the biggest feature to me was how Mario controlled. There have been many times where I'd simply run around Peach's castle, jump off walls, kick paintings, and flip around in rooms whenever I damn well pleased. It felt that good to control Mario. Of course, like most of you, I've always wanted to see this with improved visuals and the same fluid movement. Let's just rip this band-aid off right now. Super Mario 64 isn't the greatest to look at on the Switch. Experiencing it on a new console with upscaled resolution is like going to Disney World as an adult. You start seeing things on your favorite rides that you never noticed when you were a kid. You notice the nuts and bolts, things controlling the animatronics, and set pieces. The only difference between the two is that Disney World is pretty and improves itself over time. Super Mario 64, on the other hand, shows its age. Mario still controls fine, even with the occasional Joy-Con drift, but there are all sorts of edges in the environment that are way more noticeable than they were before. Honestly, there are a few times where it gets distracting, like when you scale the mountain in Bob-omb Battlefield. On top of that, Mario's model swap is more glaring, creating this awkward transition from a round and hefty Mario to a Mario made of children's building blocks. Yes, the game is still fun to play, and if you're an aspiring developer, you may even appreciate these exposed cogs. For others, they may be details you can't unsee, and because of that, some of the game's original charm is lost. Also, why is this game not a 16:9 screen ratio? Here we go! While Super Mario 64 was a mixed bag, albeit one that was still fun to play, Super Mario Sunshine was a pretty big letdown. Sunshine for me was a solid game despite its departure from not just the Mushroom Kingdom, but standard Mario mechanics. You aren't just wahooing and yipping all over the place. Now, you're making use of your trusty flood backpack to spray water on enemies, cleaning paint off the environment, and even manipulating the state of characters and items. Needless to say, it was a refreshing adventure and has gained a massive, and frankly quite vocal, following. Of the games included in 3D All-Stars, it disappoints me to see that Sunshine has made the worst transition. While the upscaled resolution has allowed the visuals to shine brighter than ever, no pun intended, Sunshine on the Switch is the most frustrating experience I've had with a Mario game, and the worst part about it is that it isn't Sunshine's fault, it's the Switch's. The problem between Sunshine on the Switch and Sunshine on GameCube is the time gap between controllers, specifically the analog stick. Because the Switch has such tightened movement and sensitivity, it's virtually impossible to make Mario tiptoe, let alone turn around normally instead of skidding. This made a handful of missions absolutely aggravating to finish, specifically the Hotel Lobby Secret and the Mirror Madness missions. Just for reference, I went back and played the same aforementioned missions on GameCube and had no trouble. What the GameCube version gives players is room for finesse. There's more room to control Mario's speed and jumps. On Switch, a slight tilt of the analog will send him dashing off the nearest cliff. That being said, if you plan to 100% Super Mario Sunshine in this collection, I hope you have a patient mind or have mastered total control over the Joy-Cons, because you're going to need it. Lastly, we have Super Mario Galaxy, a game that captured our imagination with its epic narrative, breathtaking visuals, and creative worlds. As one of the best-selling Wii games and having sold more than 12 million copies, it was hard to find someone who didn't experience this game. So, how exactly does it look on Switch? Well, here's the reveal. There's no doubt that Super Mario Galaxy benefited most from the transition to Switch. No longer encased in the mystical fog of 480p, players can now enjoy and re-experience Super Mario Galaxy in glorious HD, and the results are incredible. The visuals stand out more, controlling Mario feels like Galaxy was destined for Switch, and shockingly, the motion controls were actually fun to use. Galaxy in its original form felt slower to play, and it was hard to move around and collect star bits with a cursor simultaneously. It also doesn't help that the Wii's motion controls aren't as accurate as the Switch's, which makes sense given how the consoles are 2 generations apart. However, the 3D All-Stars version has you moving the cursor with a single controller, allowing for more accurate motion and continuous movement. As someone who loves Super Mario 64 more than the other two, I actually found myself booting up Galaxy more often. I loved the original during the Wii's infancy, but playing Galaxy on this collection made it feel like I was playing a completely different game. So, the question remains, is Super Mario 3D All-Stars worth the price of admission? Admittedly, $60 is pushing it a bit. Super Mario 64 doesn't look the best it could, and Sunshine deserved better controls than the Switch allows. Galaxy is really the only game in the collection that didn't suffer any setbacks, at least none that crossed my radar. To me, this collection should have been a little more generous and put on a $40 price tag rather than $60. It's also worth noting that this collection is a timed release, which kind of confuses me, as this could not only make money over a longer period of time, but also be another way to preserve classic games. You don't see Namco, Capcom, or even Konami doing that. Overall, 3D All-Stars is an okay collection, and the ones who are going to get the most enjoyment out of it are the ones who have played or are familiar with the originals. Thanks for watching our review. Let us know what you think down in the comments.